Hi there, good evening. Thank you so much for waiting. A little bit of a delay today. Technical issues, but it's always the way. YouTube Live. But we're here. We're here on Wednesday. We're going to talk about launch. We're going to talk about launching your business, launching your product, launching your service. What I'm going to do is share some insights from this book launched by Jeff Walker, which bills itself as an internet millionaire's secret formula to sell almost anything online. Sounds a little bit like bullshit to me, but actually there's some really good information and insights in this book that I want to share with you today. So thanks so much for joining me. Thank you to all my Entrepreneur Upgrade course members. Thank you to all the Upschool members. Thank you to all the YouTube community, people who come here today just to be here and learn how to launch, because launching is the most useful skill that you will ever learn as an entrepreneur. If you have a product or service, you want to get it out there. How do you do that? That's what I want to share with you in the next 25, 30 minutes. And you know what? There's also a chat box here, which you can use if you found it on YouTube Live. Let me just show you. Let's get this thing on the road. Let's get this show started. There's a chat box on YouTube Live on the right-hand side. So if you have any questions, if you want to give me some feedback, if you want to tell me that you are on a train heading somewhere, that's cool. I mean, whatever you want, use the chat box. It's on the right-hand side. That's the beauty of YouTube Live. So use that. So let's talk about launching and why you need to know how to launch. Because here's the challenge that we face as entrepreneurs. It's that you have a great product or service. You push that great product or service out to your network. And what happens is they don't respond in the way that you want them to respond. So what happens is you get this situation where you don't have their attention. Now, here's the thing, right? I mean, I was a marketer for many, many years. I spent 15, 17 years advising brands like Monster Energy, Red Bull, Nokia, Vodafone, MTV, Disney. I worked with them all. And, the biggest challenge that all brands have, no matter how good they have, is winning the attention of customers. And this applies to us as well as entrepreneurs. Winning the attention of customers. They say that the average American grows up seeing 170,000 marketing messages by their 17th birthday. So what makes yours any different? And that's the challenge that you have when it comes to launching a product or service, is when you push the product or service out there, you are just one of 170,000 marketing messages. So how do you overcome that? How do you win their attention? What I want to share with you today are some insights from this book that may help you do just that. So let's have a look. Let's start at the top. What I want to share with you today is from this book, the 4-step launch sequence, plus the sideways sales letter, which is really the technology that you will need to launch a product. It's pretty simple stuff. It's email marketing. But what I'm going to do today is show you a structure for your email marketing that you can take a list of contacts that you have and sell to those contacts. Because the big mistake that you can make as an entrepreneur is just send an email to your contacts and tell them that you have a new product or service, because they're not warmed up, you don't have their attention, they don't have your attention, whatever it is, and that's going to be the hardest situation to sell. Now, what I want to do today is share with you the insights from this book, which is that 4-step launch sequence, plus the sideways sales letter, which I think are really good techniques, really good technologies, really good hacks that you can use to maximize the efficiency of your launch process. So let's talk about that. And if you like what I share with you today, what I'd like you to do is like this video, because that will help other people discover it here on YouTube, because that's the game here on YouTube. The more likes we get, the more people discover this video. So if you like the video, please like it. That will help it get it out to a wider audience. And if you like the content of today, what I want you to do is go and check out the courses on upschool.io, because you'll get a whole bunch of courses there which will help you grow, launch, become a better entrepreneur. We'll talk a little bit about those later on. But for now, let's go back to the book, Launch by Jeff Walker. How can you launch a product? How can you sell almost anything online? Well, to do this, what I want to do is talk about your customer. So to do this, you need to know exactly who your customer is. So one of the activities that I recommend in my marketing content, if you look at the Entrepreneur Upgrade course, one of the things I recommend to any entrepreneur is to name their prospect. So rather than talk to anyone, you need to talk to someone. If your marketing, if your sales content, if your emails, if your sales page is addressed to anyone who, then you will never sell as well as content which is addressed to somebody specifically. So what I want you to do is we go back to your marketing content now and take out anything that's referred to anyone. You know, this book is for anyone who, or this app is for anyone who, or this service is for anyone who. If you're saying it's for anyone who, you're not going to get anybody to buy. What it needs to be something to somebody rather than anything to anybody. So in my case, I want to target, because it's a passion of mine, triathletes. So my someone is Chrissy. So I'm providing a product or service for Chrissy. And I know her pain points. And if you want to understand a little bit more about pain points, go back to the Entrepreneur Upgrade course where I talk about emotion and logic and how important pain points are for marketing and selling. So in this case, I understand Chrissy, I understand her hopes, her dreams, her fears, everything. So I'm going to name her. And when I practice the 4-step product launch formula, I'm going to talk to Chrissy directly. And that's what I want you to do. When you go through this process, name your customer and talk to them directly. Give them a name. Think of the person that you're actually talking to and talk to them as if you're actually talking to them. Not talk to them like some corporate BS. Don't use the we do this, we do that, the royal we. Be I, me, and talk to Chrissy directly. So, let's do this. Let's jump into the product launch 4-step sequence and look at each of these steps and what you need to do in your email marketing for each of these steps. So, what tends to be the case is when most entrepreneurs market their products, they tend to only have 2 steps, which is a pre-launch and a launch. And it tends to be something like this. You send an email to somebody, you contact a prospect, whatever it might be, and then you launch, which is you then tell them about the offer. And it's a 2-step sequence. And the problem with a 2-step sequence is you're missing out 80% of the value you can create. And it's so important to have this pre-launch and a post-launch because it creates momentum in your email marketing. So it creates this massive leverage. If you do a pre-launch, and I'll tell you what a pre-launch is in a minute, what happens is you create this leverage, this springboard. So when you go into your launch and your pre-launch, you already have warmed up customers, people who want to buy. If you're just coming in with the pre-launch, in this environment where there's 170,000 marketing messages all competing for the attention of your customer, it ain't going to get their attention. You know, you need to have multiple touch points, multiple contacts before a customer is willing to buy. So the pre-launch effectively does that for you. Let's talk about what the pre-launch is and how you do that. Effectively, what a pre-launch is an email, which is like an announcement, if you like, which is basically, I have a structure for this, and you can get the template for the pre-launch email on the Entrepreneur Upgrade course. But for now, it's something basically like this. It's, you know, an announcement which tells the prospect about something that's coming up. And what you do is you ask that prospect for some feedback. You say something like, okay, right, I've got a product coming up and it's a long awaited product. It's an anticipated product. I want to ask you a couple of questions about this product. Would you mind filling out this questionnaire? And it's a very simple email that you can send to a prospect. And the reason why this works is that people pay more attention to the stuff that they have some kind of involvement with. So if you involve the customer in the process, they have an emotional investment in your product before it's even in their laps. They're more likely to pay attention to the offer that you have, and they're more likely to buy. As I said, that pre-launch email template is in the Entrepreneur Upgrade course, but you know, the basics are there. If you read the book Launch by Jeff Walker, he provides an example of what a pre-launch email is. And as I said, it's just a straightforward announcement. Hey guys, hey Chrissy, you know, I've got this new product coming up. It's a long-awaited form. It's a long-awaited training program app, which I know you're going to be interested in. But before we get there, I just want to ask you a couple of questions about your training program as a triathlete. Very, very simple. Just get their attention at this early stage. The call to action is real simple. The call to action is to ask them a couple of questions and get them to answer those questions. That's it. You're not getting to buy at this stage. You don't want to lose them by trying to strong arm them into a sale at this stage. So what we go into next is the pre-launch, which is a sideways sales letter. And this is Jeff Walker's terminology, a sideways sales letter. Let's talk about what a sideways sales letter is. Now, this is a really powerful way of turning prospects into customers. And what a sideways sales letter is effectively 3 pieces of valuable content that you're going to give your prospects. Now, in this case, what I'm doing is I'm sharing the idea of this content being video. But you can have other kinds of content. You can have PDFs, you can have audio, whatever, but it's got to be valuable and it can't be salesy. So what you're doing at this stage is you're offering them 3 pieces of content, like a story. So I want to show you what each of these videos or this audio, whatever it is that you're going to offer, is going to comprise. What's going to be inside this video and what you need to put in there to make it work. But effectively, it's a story. So you're going to drip feed 3 pieces of content to your prospects, which is going to take them on the journey over a period of a week. It needs to be a little bit longer if you've got a higher value product. But if you've got a product which is less than $100, then a week is enough. 3 pieces of content, and it's going to take that prospect on a journey. So let's start with video 1 in the sideways sales letter. Now, this video is effectively the message of how your product or solution is going to change their life. Okay? I know that sounds like a bit big in terms of scale, but it's effectively what you need to pitch. How is it going to change their life? You're not going to maybe radically change their life, but maybe change their life for a better in a small way, fix a problem that they have or whatever. So in my case, let's go back to Chrissy. Now, so Chrissy is a hardworking professional. She's training for an Ironman triathlon. Now, the trouble with that is she needs to be doing 15 or 20 hours training a week. And she has a job which is 45 hours a week on top of that. And she has a family. So how do you put all this stuff together? You are a professional. You are training for an Ironman triathlon. And you have a family. Something has got to give. And, you know, you need to sleep, you know, at least 7 or 8 hours a night. And if you're training for a triathlon, it's going to be more, 8 or 9 hours a night. So you can't sleep less. So that's the problem that my prospect has, which is Chrissy doesn't have enough hours in the day. So what I'm doing is I'm developing a solution which is going to change her life for the better. Now that solution is an app which can help Chrissy train more specifically. By training more specifically, what she will achieve is be able to reduce that 15 or 20 hours a week training to maybe 5, 7, 8 hours, which will save her 5, 7, 8 hours of time a week. And that's going to radically change her life in 2 ways. Firstly, she's going to have more time for her family. So she's not going to have to make the decision between training for an Ironman triathlon or family. She can do both of these things. And secondly, she's also going to be healthier, because if you can train specifically and avoid long training periods, she can avoid injury. And these are the two problems that my customer has, that I understand, the two pain points: lack of time and injuries. Okay, both of these pain points derail the whole process. So my solution is a fix to that pain point that she faces on an everyday problem. So my first video is going to share a bit of content which is going to basically say, hey Chrissy, I understand the problems that you're having. I feel what you're feeling. I've been through it myself. I share the same hopes and fears that you do, and I have a solution for that. So that's effectively all you're doing in that first video. And the action point that you want to share is not get them to buy your product in video 1. So stage 1 of the Sideways Sales Letter is not to get them to buy. It's simply to act. And that action point, the best action point according to Jeff Walker in the book Launch, is to post a comment. Post a comment on the blog or Facebook, whatever works for you. Just get them to reply to this email. So that's the most effective stage 1 in this Sideways Sales Letter. And notice you're not selling anything at this stage. You haven't even talked about how they can buy your product or solution. So move on to video 2, which is your second piece of content which you're going to drop in. And you introduce video 2 by, first of all, thanking them, repositioning your offer, repositioning the problem that they have, repositioning yourself. So you recap everything that you've talked about in video 1. And the key to video 2 is to expand out this story of what happens if Chrissy doesn't take your advice. So you've told her about the problem that she's having, and you told her that you understand her problem. And video 2 now is you're going to tell her what's going to happen if she doesn't take your advice. So there are a number of scenarios and pictures that you can paint in her mind if she doesn't take your advice. And you've got to be graphical. You've got to paint pictures in the minds of your prospects. So the first one is that she will burn out. She will overdo it. She'll be doing 70, 80 hours a week, and she's not a robot. She will break at some point. And breaking typically will be injury. And, Chrissy being 35 to 40 years old, because I've identified exactly what kind of customer I'm going after, and a professional, if they get injured, that is bad news. It could be time off work. It could be months or maybe longer off doing what she really loves. And it could be difficulties in her day-to-day life. If she has an injury which affects her mobility, that's going to really affect the quality of her life. So what you're doing now in video 2 is you're painting a picture of what could go wrong if they don't follow your advice. And the action point, again, you're not asking them to buy at this stage. What you're doing is you're asking them to comment in any number of ways. Comment on the blog, comment on social media, or reply to this email. Very, very simple. Just get them to act. Just get them to respond. So we're moving on to video 3. Now, this is your last piece of high value content. And again, you're not selling at any stage. What you are doing is telling a story. So this is like the crescendo of your story, which is the case studies. So what you're doing is showing Chrissy examples of how you can help people. So in this case, you're going to show a case study of Leslie, a triathlete that took this product that you have, this app, and used it to help reduce the time that she used on training and focus more specifically on technical training. So rather than the long hours, focus on training that produced massive results but with minimum input. So these are the case studies that you're going to share in video 3. Real simple. Again, it's painting pictures. So this is effectively what happens if they do follow your advice. So you've given them the third email in this sequence of the sideways sales letter. You might be thinking, well, now I need to start selling, but it's too early. The objective of the third email is to get them to once again comment, which could be respond to your email, post a comment on Facebook or social media, or post a comment on the blog. Whatever works for you. Twitter, whatever it is, whatever medium you're using to communicate with your audience. So that's really the 3 steps to the sideways sales letter. And what we're going to do now is talk about the launch stage. So you've given them, let's recap the steps you've taken up until now. A pre-launch, which is an announcement email, which is asking them to fill in some questions, answer some questions. Then you have a 3-step pre-launch sequence, 3 videos or 3 pieces of high-value content. The first one, you understand their pain. The second one, this is what happens if you don't follow the advice. And the third one is case studies. Now what's going to happen is you're going to offer them the offer. And this comes in the form of a sales email. And it's not going to be a hard sales email, because effectively what's happened is if you've done your job properly, up to this stage, they're ready to buy. So you give them what's called a soft landing. And I won't go into details now, but what I will do is I'll provide for the Entrepreneur Upgrade course members a template of this email. But you can get that from the book Launch by Jeff Walker. But just for now, really what it is, it's just saying, hey, thanks for, being part of this journey with me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the product for purchase. Here's the link, www.example.com. Go ahead and buy it. And by the way, some kind of limited time offer that goes with that. That could be a discount that has some kind of time limit to it, and it could be some kind of extra valuable content. So you could be offering a webinar or some kind of event or some kind of extra content just for people who buy it within a certain time frame. So that's the offer. It's real simple stuff. That's the action point, is now to buy. That is the launch. You should have primed your prospects up to this point, taking them on a journey through storytelling, and at this point they're now ready to buy. So that's the 4-step sequence. Real simple stuff. It's effectively 5 emails, the pre-launch, the 3 emails within the sideways sales letter, the launch email, and then the post-launch, which is real simple. Now, if you do the post-launch right, effectively what you're doing is you are just following up. So anybody that's clicked, and you can automate all this stuff on MailChimp, anybody that's clicked or opened your campaign at this point who hasn't bought, you can just send them a follow-up email. And you can time that 3 days, 7 days, whatever. If they open the follow-up email and click, but still don't buy, send them another one in 3 or 7 days, and just keep that process going until they stop opening your emails. So that's real simple stuff for the post-launch. Hopefully that was useful. 20 minutes of content today, 25 minutes. Hopefully you got some value out of that. If you want to review this content, I put everything into the Entrepreneur Upgrade course on upschool.io, which you can sign up for. So what I'm doing is I'm putting all the webinars there. So all the content from the webinars will go there, as well as the lessons that go with those webinars. So each webinar has an introductory lesson to give you a bit more structure of learning for that webinar, as well as the templates. So the templates that I talked about today, as an example, the pre-launch email and the offer email template, those will go into the Entrepreneur Upgrade course. So you can really just cut and paste and use this stuff, or just go ahead and review the templates that, these are Jeff Walker's tried and tested templates that work. You can take what works for you and put it into your own email marketing sequence. So that's everything that's in the Entrepreneur Upgrade course. And if you want to go ahead and get your Entrepreneur Upgrade course, what I'm doing is for the month of March offering a big discount for Upschool members. If you go ahead to upschool.io, navigate your way to the Entrepreneur Upgrade course, you can get $100 off if you use this token. So that will give you access to all those goodies that I just told you about, the webinars, the lessons, and the templates. And you can put together this email marketing sequence for yourself based on Jeff Walker's own science and methodologies and see some kind of results. So hopefully that was useful to you. If you liked the content today, I'd appreciate a like on YouTube. Share it with people in your network. That'll help get it out there. I know most people, I look at the data, 90% of people watch this video after it goes live. So, help me get that message out to that audience who don't have the ability to see this live right now, because this goes out all over the world. So not everybody can see it within a convenient time zone. So if you can share that or like it, that would be fantastic. Help other people discover it. If you think this content is useful, there are other entrepreneurs out there who may also find this content useful if you hit that like button and that goes out to the wider public. So thank you very much. Upschool.io. Upschool is all about equipping you with the skills that you need to become a better entrepreneur, whether that is building email newsletters, marketing your product, designing your product, building your product, whatever it may be. What I'm doing in Upschool is putting all this valuable information from all these books that are really useful for entrepreneurs, that help us learn and grow as business people. I'm putting all of those into Upschool. You can go ahead and get access to all of that content there. Thank you very much for joining me today. Hopefully that was useful. If you have any questions after this content goes live, feel free to put your comments in the comment box, but don't do it now, because when I close this and it goes into the archive, the live comments get put aside and we go ahead, we have a different system where, it switches to normal YouTube comments. So if you have any comments about this video and you're watching the archive, feel free to put them in the comment box. Any kind of questions, I'll do my best to answer them. And if you are an Upschool member, I will see you on Upschool. Feel free to comment on this video within the Upschool courses. I will do my best to answer those questions there. Thanks so much for joining me today. Let's make 2017 the best year yet.